The June update has given us one of the rarest and most unique looking weapons of World War I. A prototype capable of taking out infantry and air vehicles with a single flip of a switch. It's a huge game changer and shifts the balance of power from air vehicles to ground troops. The weapon I'm referring to and we're going to have a closer look at today is the BURTON LMR. In this review, we're going to look at what makes it so unique and different from all the other support weapons in Battlefield 1. The Burton light machine rifle was America's first true assault rifle developed by Frank Burton in 1917. It was intended to be used as an aircraft observer's weapon for attacking German observation balloons, but it could also be used by infantry. It came with two barrels, one for aircraft use and the other for assault purposes. Both barrels were finned for better cooling, but infantry barrels were customized to fit a bayonet, making it the first and only support weapon that can equip a bayonet in Battlefield 1. The Burton LMR comes in two variants, the trench and optical variant. The trench variant has greater hipfire accuracy, but lacks the range and accuracy that the optical variant offers. You can unlock the Burton Trench by taking out 50 enemies while defending a capture point. You or the enemy has to be on the flank to get the 50 defensive points, so defending on operations is probably the fastest way of completing the assignment. For the optical variant, you'll just need to resupply 100 different players and take out 50 with the Burton Trench. It fires a .345 rimless Winchester round, which is a modified version of the Winchester .351 cartridge. Looking at these stats in game, the Burton LMR has a fire rate of 830 rounds per minute, which makes it the fastest firing support weapon in Battlefield 1. That's 130 rounds per minute more than the Parabellum and more than double the Shellshat's fire rate. In terms of firepower, it's very similar to an assault rifle since it falls into the criteria of an assault rifle. There are no stats available on the Burton LMR at the moment, so I can't really talk you through the finer details and stats. However, we can talk about the design. The most unusual feature of the design is the V-shaped dual top mounted magazines that enter the receiver at a 60-degree angle. Each one holds 20 rounds and each has a pair of lock-in latches. One position locks the magazine into a feeding position and the other holds it above the cycling of the bolt, simply allowing easy access to the second magazine when reloading. However, in Battlefield 1 it works slightly different from what you would expect in real life. In game, each magazine has a dedicated ammunition type. One has incendiary rounds and the other has your standard rounds. So you would actually need to reload every 20 rounds spent, unless you switch to a second ammunition type. You can switch to the second magazine by changing the fire mode and save yourself some valuable reload time, but depending on your targets, it may not be the best option. The incendiary rounds aren't very effective in taking out infantry and extend the TTK by a little bit. As you may know, having a prototype weapon comes with a few disadvantages. Firstly, the capacity of the magazine really limits your ability to take out multiple targets at once. I would say 2 to 3 targets at max, and combined with the long reload time, you may find yourself in situations where you're overwhelmed or outnumbered. Another downside is that you can't actually reload both magazines at once. Instead, you will need to switch fire mode before you can reload the second magazine. Now that's not a huge problem in general, but if you're a risk reward player and choose to switch to the incendiary rounds to continue taking out infantry players, you may be left with an even longer reload time. I found that the magazine size and the fire rate is comparable to the machine pistol, so expect to reload tactically and play in a similar way. Just like the machine pistol, the Burton LMR does shred opponents within a 50-meter radius, but I wouldn't go as far as calling it overpowered. If anything, its biggest strength lies in its AA abilities and does an excellent job by taking out anything that's in the sky. Another thing I've noticed is that the iron sights are also quite intrusive and block some of your vision, but the option of a trench variant makes up for that. ADSing isn't even required if you're in the optimal range, so hip firing should be sufficient to get the job done. Overall, the Burton LMR is hands down one of the best weapon additions to Battlefield 1. It goes against the grain of traditional support weapons that are known for their bipod abilities and huge magazine capacities. Nothing can compare to its combined AA and infantry abilities, so for that reason alone the Burton LMR has truly crafted its own unique niche in Battlefield 1. Only one Burton LMR was ever produced, but I'm glad we can experience it in game. So that's all for this review. Leave a like, share your thoughts down below, especially if you're a pilot, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.